Hey everyone, let's continue with 7.3. This is the p-value method. You have to use StatCrunch. No other way to get the p-value for 7.3. So we'll be doing everything in on this page with StatCrunch. Otherwise, the steps look pretty much the same as what we've seen before. So let's do number 7, which says redo example 4. So if you look back, we've already done this problem. We're just doing it a different way. So I already have my HOHA written. So I'm going to jump right to StatCrunch, and you're basically just entering in information and letting StatCrunch do the work. Which you just got to know how to do it. So just open up a blank StatCrunch page, just like that. And we're going to stat, and it's tstat. One sample with summary. So there it is, stat, tstats, one sample with summary. Sample mean in this problem was 12.6. The sample standard deviation S, 1.2. Sample size 20. And then my H sub 0 number is 13. And the HA was a less than. You can't choose the inequality for the HO. Don't worry about it. Just make sure the inequality on the HA is right. And then your number is right. And that's all you got to worry about. Click compute, and there's that T statistic that we got by hand. And then we also have this new value that we never got in the by hand method, the p-value, 0.0762. And then remember how that p-value method works. If that p-value is larger than the alpha, which in this case it is because alpha is 5%, then you fail to reject H sub 0. So you get the same conclusion, just you're using the p-value instead of a critical value from the table, right? So pretty cool. But the answer would still be the same, insufficient to support, okay? Let's do that next one. We're gonna redo the one about the kidney diseases, right? So that one would look like this if I go stat, tstat, one sample with summary. Right? In that problem, the sample was 21,545. That's the sample mean. The sample standard deviation was 3015, and the sample size was 25. Okay. The number I had in my hypotheses was 22,500, and it was a not equal to, it was a two-tailed test, so there would be the setup for that one. And again, we get that same t-value, negative 1.58, and a p-value of 0.1263. And since that p-value is larger than alpha, it's failed to reject. HA is the claim. Those two together, insufficient to support. Right? So just like we got in the rejection region method, same answers, just in a little bit of a different way. Okay. So just to summarize that, let me go back to the handout. Right, so this is the idea, right? P-value is larger than alpha, so it's failed to reject H sub 0. And then same conclusion that using those two, we got when we did the problem the first time. There's insufficient evidence to support the claim, okay? Similar for the one above, right? Okay, so let's try this new one. Now here's a different scenario. We've got raw data on this one. This is really where you're going to want to use StatCrunch. Anytime you have raw data, don't fiddle around with by hand methods. Go straight to the technology. Raw data meaning we've got this list of numbers here, right? Anytime you have a list of raw data, StatCrunch is the way to go. But to set this one up, we still need the HO and HA. And this one, says the brochure claims that the mean class size is less than or fewer than 32. Mean fewer than 32. H sub 0 would be the opposite of that. HA is the claim, and this is obviously a left-tailed test because of the HA is less than. Okay. Let's do the rest of this problem, or the meat of it, finding the test statistic and the p-value using StatCrunch. So let's jump into StatCrunch. You can kind of imagine where you're going to go here. Stat, t-stat, one sample with data, okay? Because we have that raw data. And I always forget this. You need that data in there before you do that, okay? So to get that, let's see. We got to go to it's in your groups folder. So if you go to my groups, go to our class, there it is, the 7.3 problem number 9. That way I don't have to type in the numbers. And a lot of your problems in homework will be like that. You can just, right, you can just load it right in there. Okay, stat, t-stat, one sample with data, with data. There we go. Okay, click the column. And then my hypothesis used the number 32, and the HA was a less than. There it is. Don't worry about the rest of the stuff. That's all you need. It's really what you want. You want that t statistic, that negative 1.94, and you want that p-value, 0.0344. Okay. I'll go back to my handout now, and that's really what I was after. That's all I need. Now, one other thing, yeah, this does happen, where when you're working on the homework, it might ask you for what is the mean of those numbers listed there. It gives it to you right here. The sample mean is 30.1. Occasionally, it's going to ask you for the sample standard deviation. It's nowhere in the problem. You have to find it. You don't want to do that by hand unless you really want to. Do your chapter 2 StatCrunch method for that. Right? So if it wants that standard deviation, stat, summary stat of a column. And there it is, standard deviation. I could just click it. 4. Standard deviation is 4. Okay. Okie dokie. Let's go back to handout now. Now we have a p-value of 0.03, and the alpha is 1%. So here we have p is larger. Anytime p is larger, fail to reject h sub 0. All right, put it all together now. We've seen this one, actually, it's all been kind of the same, huh? HA is the claim, fail to reject h sub 0. There is insufficient evidence. To support the claim. Okay, and that would be the final answer. That's 7.3. All right, hope if you have any questions, let me know. Hope it's making a little bit of sense. Okay, I'll talk to you later. Bye.